you guys? It's Boomer and you're watching Bali Star. Today, we're just getting into Patrick CC, the brutal collapse of Akon's Scam City. Now, I didn't know what to believe when he announced that project that he was launching in Africa and all that, building Akon City or something. Um, Along with a Akon coin, I think. I also heard him say. But I was just seeing, what I'm saying, as, I would hear it through tabloids or whatsoever, TikToks, whatever, what I'm saying, what would be going on. But I haven't heard anything. You feel me? I guess I haven't been looking or it hasn't come up in any algorithm of mine. But yeah, let's see what's going on. Let's get straight on into it. Let's go.
In 2020, rapper Akon made an announcement that he was building his own $6 billion future city in Africa that looks like the hybrid of Dubai and the fictional city of Wakanda. Akon City is where innovation meets luxury, with 5 distinct districts designed to redefine urban living. See the African Village District, where modern waterfront homes beckon, and a sprawling, all-inclusive resort awaits your indulgence. Experience exhilaration in the Entertainment District, boasting a cutting-edge multi-purpose stadium, and a colossal casino for endless excitement. Witness the future unfolding in the Tech District, poised to become the Silicon Valley of Africa, where groundbreaking technologies shape tomorrow's world. And of course, the essential Health and Safety District, because public services such as police stations, fire departments...
If you know one thing, African parents are just as strict as Chinese and Indian parents, so they would want their child to ace every school course there is, you know what I'm saying, become geniuses and stuff, you know what I'm saying. Africans are just like China, are just like Asian, and well, I say mostly Chinese, Japanese, but Asian as a broad as well, and Indian and Indians, you know what I'm saying. Africans are right there up there with them, you know what I'm saying, as in terms of strictest, you know what I'm saying, want their children to do the very best, not even that they can, but just do the very best, just be the very best, be professor or you know what I'm saying, one of them type of shits, be professor or doctor, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, Africans are up there with Asian and Indian parents.
And a general hospital are key to residents' quality of life. The Education District will provide comprehensive learning opportunities for both children and adults, ensuring growth and development for all. And lastly, the glamorous Sennawood District, which features 4 state-of-the-art filming studios, offices, and residential spaces, all culminating with the iconic Akon Tower piercing the skyline to glorify the genius who created this futuristic urban oasis. For the past 4 years, Akon and his team have been preparing this city to be ready for you to experience by 2024. And just 4 years later, this is what Akon City looks like today. Lies, corruption, collusion, a shady cryptocurrency, stealing native land. These are just a few of the villainous acts Akon has been accused of during this disastrous project. At first, many of his supporters saw him as a noble man making valiant efforts to create a real-life utopia. But now they question why the guy who believes that all men are divine kings to be worshipped by women wants to create and lead his own city. But before we get into the fall of Akon City, it is important to understand the actual amazing achievements Akon has made for over a dozen African nations. After Akon made millions of dollars in the music industry, he wanted to extend resources to Senegal, which is where he is from. Growing up, Akon knew the struggles of living in the dark once the sun went down. The town in Senegal that he grew up in, like many others, had no access to running water or power. Local economies were forced to shut down businesses when the sun set, and families were constrained to candlelight and kerosene lamps to complete their nightly tasks, resulting in over 3 million deaths each year from harmful fumes and fires. In 2014, Akon Lighting Africa was launched. In the first year of Akon's Lighting Africa project, he brought solar energy to 14 different African nations, and although his intentions were noble, he had to implement borderline unethical strategies to convince nations to invest in solar. But before we get into that, a quick word from today's sponsor, Cook Unity. Cook Unity is the symbol to cook fun. Meal comment. Andres means I'm so busy working more than 40 minutes slow and try them out. Hesitant installed about the future. So he strategically approached nations who lack unity and are hesitant to think about the future. So he strategically approached nations who had upcoming elections, then installed solar systems for free in the village of the leader's choice, such as installing streetlights and solar panels for homes and businesses. Then it made those leaders look like they were invested in progressing their nation, which led to them receiving more votes from citizens. It came to the point that once that village was lit up, now the neighboring villages would bring pressure to the government and ask those same questions. How come we ain't lit up? Although many are critical of this tactic, at the end of the day, the communities are the ones who benefit the most. The solar electricity has allowed the vendors to operate for longer hours into the night and for children to study after dark. Also, just the simple installation of streetlights led to decreased crime rates due to the visibility the solar-powered street lighting provides. By 2020, Akon Lighting Africa has installed 100,000 solar-powered street lamps, 1,200 solar microgrids, and has created more than 5,000 jobs. But many people question how Akon was able to finance a project of this size. Sure, his music was successful, but we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure costs. While he was able to land a line of credit for up to $1 billion worth of solar equipment with the finance arm of China Jiangsu International Group, which is a Chinese government-owned construction firm. Most of these African nations could not afford the upfront money for installing solar infrastructure, but Akon's line of credit allowed the governments to pay in installments.
But when Bush was in power, Bush created a 200% tax on all solar or all solar-related renewable energy coming into America. So all that investment, those billions of dollars of investment that China put into this, was just sitting in factories and sitting in China, couldn't be used. So I took advantage of that and went down to China and to partner with some of those companies that couldn't use all that, investment that they already put for Europe and America.
Because of Akon's efforts, an estimated 28.8 million people can now enjoy the same benefits of electricity that much of the world has enjoyed for decades.
You've always said that China has done more for Africa than any other country.
I mean, it's true. That's not something anybody can argue with.
Yeah.
I mean, they came, they laid down infrastructure. They actually did something that the European countries been around for 400 years and did nothing. That's why if you see Africa now hasn't been developed. This was the responsibility
that chain
of France,
is hard.
Great Britain, Italy, Italy, Germany. These guys have been in Africa forever, and it's never been developed. China just started putting interest in Africa. Now you have roads, roundabouts. Like, they're actually putting structure down.
Now, China has been investing in Africa since the early 2000s, but their interest has dramatically increased in the past 10 years, having loaned $170 billion to 49 different nations. And while the Chinese government investing in Africa is a major step forward into the advancement of those nations, some people think that they have a secret evil motive behind their interest. Now, obviously, these Chinese investments need to be paid back. The problem is that Africa's total debt from 2000 to 2022 is around $1.8 trillion, which is 300% higher than Africa's GDP growth rate in the same amount of time. Basically, they're in a lot of debt and don't have a stable way to pay back the money. But that might be exactly what the Chinese government wants. Debt trap diplomacy, or the Chinese debt trap, is essentially their strategy of building expensive infrastructure and assets that these African nations cannot afford, secretly hoping that they will stop making payments and then China will take control of their land or assets that they just built. Now, why would China want to control a bunch of land, resources, and assets in the middle of Africa? Your guess is as good as mine. But these theories were spawned after an investigation into these loan documents.
In one report which analysed 100 Chinese contracts, it revealed that the loans are structured to give an advantage over other creditors and allows action to be taken if the borrower acts contrary to the interests of a People's Republic of China entity. There are also unusual clauses that shroud agreements in secrecy.
So what exactly would constitute as acting contrary to the interest of a Chinese entity? Well, that's really vague, likely on purpose. Who knows what would legally count as acting contrary? And as far as these unusual confidential clauses, well, that alone is enough for some people to believe that China is trying to be vague and non-transparent on purpose. But others believe that this is just extremely standard contract practices that the World Bank and any other small bank in existence provides, and that the Chinese debt trap as a whole is just more Western propaganda to 1. Demonize Africa more, and 2. Make Americans hate the Chinese government. Think about it this way. When you're buying a house, does the government, the media, or the banks call it a debt trap? No, they call it a smart and often necessary investment into your future. But if you can't make your payments on your house, they take it away, and now they own it. So wouldn't that make buying a house an American debt trap? It just comes down to whether you think China is doing extremely standard business, or do they want these nations to fall short on payments to take over their assets and gain power in Africa. Regardless, Akon's relationship with these Chinese financiers and previous success with Lighting Africa allowed him to pitch his newest venture, Akon City. He claims that he was able to get his $1 billion credit line raised to $5 billion with these Chinese investment groups. Following the announcement of the city, Akon went on a publicity tour promoting the new project.
The president of Senegal gave you 3 square miles of land.
Well, this is the thing. I had to actually buy the land, so it wasn't gifted to me. But what the president and the government are doing, they're actually laying the foundation for all the infrastructure on the land. The basic sewage, electricity, things like that. All the things that have to be set forth for me to build the city on top of.
Okay.
And they're giving me 100% full support.
The city will be built on a 3 square mile plot just 60 miles from Dakar, the capital and largest city in Senegal. Now 3 square miles is not a ton of land, that's 2,000 acres or a little more than double the size of Central Park in New York City. However, Akon says this version of the city is just phase 1 of a multi-phase plan. He also announced during this time that Akon City would operate fully on their own cryptocurrency called Acoin. Acoin is a stellar-based cryptocurrency designed to fuel rising entrepreneurs in Africa and beyond. Acoin will be used as a common medium of transfer between Africa's 54 countries, each with its own volatile currency, allowing African citizens and entrepreneurs to engage with the digital economy with only a mobile phone.
People don't always have access to, bank accounts and so on,
Right.
but everybody has a phone.
Everybody has a phone.
So with the phone, you can make payments,
Absolutely.
and that's how it all kind of fits in.
Why not just make real currency?
Okay.
Acoin is not a groundbreaking technology. Many Africans have adopted crypto for everyday use as it is generally more stable and flexible than their country's native currency. But even before crypto was adopted, over 50 million Africans use M-Pesa, or mobile minutes, which is kind of like the Cash App or Venmo of Africa. Millions of Africans can transfer money to family members in different countries or pay for goods and services with ease using M-Pesa. It would be significantly easier for Akon City residents if the country was built around a more commonly used cryptocurrency or just sticking with M-Pesa. So why Acoin?
How much Acoin do you actually own?
I mean, I am the bank.
Akon said it himself. He is the bank. Not only is he building a city named after him, but also creating the currency that he controls and owns the most of. Before launching his Acoin cryptocurrency, the Acoin website announced a pre-sale opportunity called the Token of Appreciation or TOA campaign. This pre-sale was treated like a donation, and donors were promised 4 tokens for every $1 spent. Acoin was launched on most major crypto exchanges in early 2021 and peaked at around 58 cents, which at the time was around a 132% gain for the TOA holders if they sold. However, the majority believed in Acoin, so they held. Within a few months, the price began spiraling down to roughly 10 cents per coin, taking TOA holders from a 132% gain to a 60% loss. Due to the shocking dip, Acoin admins offered a refund to their initial donors. One donor named Marcus said, "The refund was meant to come a few weeks later. We are now over a year, and we're back at the same situation we were years ago with the lack of communication, and now everybody's up in arms." But Marcus isn't alone. The owner of the Go Black to Africa YouTube channel showed proof of him emailing Acoin admins only to be ignored for years. The YouTuber wrote to Andrew of the Acoin Foundation requesting a refund on December 19th, 2021. Andrew replied 22 days later and said that the YouTuber was added to the list for refund requests and we will be reaching out shortly regarding further details on how to proceed. The YouTuber provided his physical mailing address, which Andrew claimed was the next step towards a refund, only for him to be ignored for 4 months with no refund, and now it has been 3 years and still no refund. When Akon was asked about these refunds, he said he had no idea there was any problems.
That I was aware, because I know all the people that I knew that was on record. We definitely met with everybody, and this was the agreement that was actually agreed on. So if there was anyone outside of that, I definitely wasn't aware.
And those people who asked for their money back and were expecting a year ago, when will they receive their money?
Well, that I'm just literally on everything finding out. So I'm gonna definitely get more involved and figure out what that's about. But we do have instruments in place to make sure those people are happy, even if I gotta go in my own pocket.
But as far as we know, Akon has not come out of pocket to pay these people back. The coin eventually fell to $0.0029, which is essentially a 100% loss. At the moment, Acoin is not listed on any cryptocurrency exchange, so nobody can buy it, sell it, or use it anywhere. It is worth nothing.
Akon had appeared that he was doing a good job, but it seems though that he is just like most who would want to use Africa only for his own benefit.
As if it couldn't get any worse, Akon City today is an utter ghost town. Last year, this picture went viral of one singular Minecraft concrete brick laid in the center of Akon City, showcasing an extreme lack of progress being made considering the fact that Akon said the city would be done by 2024. However, there is a little more than just this one stone. Today in 2024, you can see the first completed building, an extremely standard and non-futuristic building that they say is a recreational center. There's also another small, barely constructed building with a spiral staircase, which, to be fair, does look like a small version of what the original vision depicted. However, 99% of the land remains vacant with wild cattle grazing. Yes, technically construction has begun, but as you can see, this is a far cry from the futuristic megacity we were promised. Akon blamed the pandemic, saying everything would be pushed back by 2 years, which doesn't really make sense considering he announced Akon City to the international media when the pandemic was at its worst moments. The unfortunate part about the land that's just sitting unused is that the land belonged to several hundred people who are still owed compensation from the Senegalese government. The first phase of Akon City was supposed to be built on 55 hectares of land secured by SAPCO in 2009, eventually expanding onto a further 500 hectares by the end of the decade. Macky Sall, the president of Senegal, said, "My problem concerning the land is not with Akon. My problem is concerning SAPCO, because it is them who took the land from the villagers." Originally, the Senegalese government's tourist board, SAPCO, was backing the project, saying, "We believe in Akon City and we are all supporting Akon so that Akon City will come to life. It will attract tourists and investors in the region, and SAPCO is fully committed to the success of this project." But most recently, they have sent Akon a formal notice that if the project has not advanced by next year, its contract with him will be terminated. And since Akon has massively overpromised and massively underdelivered, people are starting to question his intentions in the first place. "I plan to retire in that city," he says confidently. "I don't like to use the word king of the city, but that's what it will turn out to be." Words like this have made some people believe that Akon City is just an empire to inflate his ego at best, and a corrupt billion-dollar scam at worst.
I mean, come on now, calling it Akon City. The currency is Acoin. Of course.
Additionally, Akon's views of the Western world's morals and gender roles has made people disagree with him as a leader.
But what happens in today's society, the woman chooses which role she want to play. In the last 10, 15 years, I haven't met a woman that can actually cook. I haven't met a woman that actually wants to clean the house. I've met the baddest bitches on the globe and asked to go to the bathroom, and the bathroom looked like shit. Hair all over the place, all kind of products. Like, come on now.
Man.
That's a natural instinct. That's a natural instinct.
I'm with you.
Maybe this could just be a joke, but Akon does follow
right
a
on that
very
part.
non-Western style of raising his 9 children with 7 different women.
Single time you're at every single recital.
No, that's a white man's thing. Who
Oh.
gives a fuck about a recital? The reason why people like me can't spend every single day and minute with their children is because the mother's job is to be there with the children. I'm the man. My job is to provide comfort so the mother can provide and raise those children to be like me. Now, if it's a man, when a child gets to a certain age, that's my responsibility now to show him what a man's role and responsibility is. But you can't expect a man to conquer the world if he's home with children. In life, there's roles.
Yeah, no.
A man has his role,
Yes.
and a woman has her role.
Yes.
But the day the woman believes that the man is supposed to share her role with her, then that means she's lacking.
So
I don't go pull my wife out to the construction site to go pull nails in 2x4s
We're talking
because that's
about-
not her place. A guy ain't got time to be in the house all day with no kid.
Now, this could be chalked up to just a traditional style of raising a family, but sometimes he justifies his beliefs with extreme levels of bro science.
So, as a woman, her role is to support the man. The man, we are the kings and the divine of this universe. A woman can never compare to the man. They have to understand that here in America. The women don't create life. They support the creation of life. A man right now can create life without a woman, but a woman can't create life without a man. If I wanted to create life right now without a woman,
I mean, sperm banks, or is that a sperm bank? Or women can go and get like what's it called inseminated and stuff, and through what's it called? Dang, I forgot what it was called, but like they inject the egg with the sperm and stuff, and then place it inside the woman to, what I'm saying? So like sometimes they have surrogates. People have surrogates to have the baby for them and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Stem cell, baby birth and all that stuff. Yeah, they can do all that.
I would just shoot my sperm, put it in the incubator, and just give it 9 months, even maybe less with today's science, and a baby will be born. A woman can't do that.
Hopefully in Akon City, he is not in charge of the education curriculum because his science is considerably off here. Akon is likely referring to vitro gametogenesis, which is essentially creating an egg and a sperm outside of the human body to create a life. And the answer is no, we cannot do this right now. We can fertilize a female egg and a male sperm in a lab environment, but in order to give birth, the fertilized embryo must be transferred back to the woman's uterus. At the absolute worst, Akon could be a scammer of the God complex, who is willing to take Chinese money to build infrastructure that African nations cannot afford, only to line his own pockets while these nations crumble and get taken over by the Chinese government. Or at best, he is truly trying to build a futuristic utopia for Africans, and unfortunately the massive political and economic responsibilities were far more than he could handle. And as of right now, Akon City won't exist for a very long time. But to be honest, it probably never will.
Never say never. I mean, given that they might have to change some things, like, maybe Akon will no longer own it, and, they'll probably call it something else, and, still go about building the structure and, what I'm saying, the whole city, but it'll just be something completely different. Alright, you guys, so that was Patrick CC with another impeccably excellent video. The brutal collapse of Akon Scam City, man. Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff he was talking about, I agree with, and some I did not, you know what I'm saying? But that's the beauty of having opinions as humans, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we just go by off of, like, what we know, what we believe and stuff, but sometimes you just cannot deny pure facts, you know what I'm saying? Like, the truth is what it is. You feel me? And sometimes opinions cannot overlap that. But some people have a hard time understanding that. Y'all let me know your thoughts about down in the comment section down below, man. You already know it's Boomer and you're watching Bali Star. Make sure to leave a like, support the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new so that way you join up with the bomb squad. Yeah, did. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. 100. Ooh! Yeah.